Why is that so cool? Who made up these freaking rules? Unbaptized fat of a kid makes you fly, nails will hurt you. Like, what? Is there a book on this?
Book of the Dead.
I played video games in a drunken haze. I was 17 years young.
Today's review is a special request. My first ever Patreon supporter, Daniel, like the coolest dude ever in my opinion. Me and Audrey thank you so much, okay? Now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna do what you asked, man. This cat wanted me to look at Warlock, and I've never seen this movie. I didn't even have a copy of it until literally 2 days ago. So I finally got around to watching it last night, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it right now. So be sure to thank Daniel down below in the comments, because without his contributions, I probably never would have made this. Warlock opens with spectacular effect and suspense. Now, if you haven't seen the film, you're immediately curious as to where we are, what's going on, and who all these people are as you're carried along through the credits' dreary reveal until the title appears before us. Man, it's just gorgeous! It's so simple and elegant. A lovely drop shadow beneath it, that charming little twist to the large letter W. I'm just in love with the title as it is, and it's such a stark contrast to the rest of the movie's dirty and washed out tone. Now, after the credits, we find the group of men we've been following have arrived upstairs in one of the large buildings, whose door was marked with some sort of symbol. Now inside, they've somehow managed to capture a Warlock and have him shackled before them as they give him a final chance to repent before his hanging. I'm sure he'll do that.
You'll get nothing from him, just as I said.
We're introduced to Redford here, our hero of the film, when he's left alone with the Warlock and exchanges words with him.
Not Satan have saved you, were he thus inclined.
Perhaps he'll save us both, Redford.
Now their interaction here establishes to us that they've got some sort of history going on, even though we don't know what it is. And that's good, it's good for character building.
Never was there a brute more deserving.
Leaving him to suffer his last night on Earth, an enormous storm suddenly erupts, darkening the sky in a matter of seconds, and as its thunder cracks all around the small frightened village, the gale-force winds throw open the doors to the building he's housed in. Now, as Redford rushes back inside, the winds have surrounded the Warlock, who is in the process of freeing himself from his chains, and before Redford can manage to stop him, he vanishes along with the storm. We next find ourselves in 1988, where the Warlock has been transported to, and in the chaotic trip, he crashes through the window of a building owned by an antique collector and a woman he rents a room to named Cassandra.
Canyon country. Gets them all.
Think he's just drunk?
Man, people in 1988 were pretty chill about some random dude just crashing through their window, passing out, bleeding all over the floor. Now, even though they call the police, they still take care of him, and he eventually regains consciousness and is in shock at the time period he has ended up in.
Could this somehow be the year?
When Cassandra heads off to work, the man is left alone with the Warlock. He's going to be called the Warlock throughout this. They never give him a name in the movie, and even in IMDb it just says, the Warlock. And he becomes entranced with a ring that this man is wearing. And he wastes no time in taking what he wants. Hey look, if that's not enough, how would you, as a Warlock, kill a man? One way to do it I have never seen. Now soon after, the police have pulled Cassandra out of work for questioning as they presumably discovered the man's body while she was at work, while our Warlock has made his way to a psychic seeking to communicate with a spirit.
Who did you have in mind? What's his name?
He has many.
Now as she puts on her usual act for the tourists, he sees right through it until the real spirit takes control of her.
Ask me what thou wilt.
How comes it that you have brought me here?
Now he's basically given the task of reconstructing the Grand Grimoire, which is like Satan's Bible, and apparently its 3 parts are scattered amongst the earth. And for this, he's offered the ultimate reward.
The one begotten Son.
It shall be me.
This makeup job on this chick, it's like, it almost looks like the chick in Witch House. Like she could have been the mother of the witch in Witch House. Oh man, thought she was about to bust out eruption or something.
Let my eyes guide thee.
What I grew to love here was the unpredictability this movie offered. That came out of nowhere, much like the ring scene from earlier. Frightened for her life now, Cassandra returns home to gather what little possessions she can when Redford suddenly appears.
Did he bleed? The one who wore these, did he bleed whatsoever?
Not really sure how he got there, but okay. Trying to track the Warlock, he uses a witch compass and some of the Warlock's blood to help point him in the right direction. But before he gets any results, the police arrive and take him in. Now, in disbelief that she even thought for a second he might be telling the truth, Cassandra resumes grabbing her clothes and whatnot, but as she readies to head out the door, she's stopped by the swing of the needle. Now, it's shortly thrown into a fury as the Warlock returns, using the psychic's eyes as a dowsing rod of sorts. That's pretty cool. And here he finds the first of the pieces to the Grand Grimoire. Of all places, inside one of the tables, one of the antique tables owned by this man who had all that antique shit laying around. Look, I love the idea. Anytime there's like pieces of something scattered all across a land and a main character has to make a journey to gather them all, I'm pretty much sold. Now before leaving, he doesn't kill her, but he curses her.
Tout, tout, thrown about your callow life in dismay. Rentum osculum tormentum. A decade twice over a day.
And when she wakes the next morning, she's horrified to see exactly what he's cursed her with, and with little recourse, she bails out Redford seeking answers.
This guy put some kind of hoodoo hex spell on me.
The two team up out of desperation, and an odd but believable necessity, as honestly, neither of the two can really get by now without the other. I mean, think about it. As the two begin their road trip, stopping every so often to check the compass, the Warlock has found a child who couldn't be more perfect for an opportunity he simply can't resist.
Yeah, 6 points. Now I kick off to you.
Again, this is the unpredictability that I love about this movie. I don't ever know what the hell he's gonna do next.
Whence comes it?
There's a church over there.
And how is it you're not there?
My dad hates all that stuff about Jesus and the 12 apostrophes.
Shortly after, we find the kid was murdered.
You eat coyote around here, huh?
That boy over at Trailer Park was killed by one.
And so viciously at that, the residents think it was a coyote, so that ought to tell you something about what he did to that body.
Fairly well chewed up from what's being said, skin taken clean off.
Was the boy baptized?
No. His father wouldn't allow it.
Of all ingredients used by which, the most coveted is human fat. And if that fat is cut from an unbaptized male child, there is but one purpose: flying potion.
The fat of an unbaptized child, apparently, is a key ingredient in a witch's flying potion. Add that to my shit I did not know list. Now, as Redford and Cassandra continue driving, our Warlock has now made his way to the resting place of the second piece to the Grimoire in the attic of a farmhouse, and soon after, the needle points Redford and Cassandra to it as well. They arrive before he is able to escape with the pages, and Redford brutally attacks him, but unfortunately for him,
It seems even 2/3 can work marvelous.
the two escape out the window here, and I'd be lying if I said the effects don't look a little dated. They certainly do, but I can let that go because the movie really gives us its all in everything. And it's 1988 special effects. You know, they weren't that great. You can't complain that much about that. It's the time. That one does look pretty bad, though. It's a good thing that Julian Sands is like the sexiest Warlock ever. Managing to take him out of the sky with the very same weather vane he cast at him, Redford and the grandfather from the farm almost have him weakened and shackled again, but when Grandpa makes a near-fatal mistake and looks directly into the Warlock's eyes, he manages to escape, because Redford turned to help the grandpa. Why? I'm not gonna lie, I really question this decision. I'm sorry about your eyes, Grandpa, but if this Warlock gets away, it's the end of the world. Why is it so important that he stop trying to shackle him and start helping Grandpa immediately? I don't know, maybe it's like part of his character. Maybe Redford's just a really good guy, basically, and he just looked like really hell-bent on vengeance from the very beginning. So as expected, the Warlock manages to escape, and here the movie captivated me, not only in its next idea, but that in my memory, I had long since forgotten I saw this once. You know, for the longest time, I've had this random-ass memory of somebody driving nails into footprints, and I could not ever place who or what it was, and now I know. So thank you, Daniel, for that. As Redford tends to the grandfather, Cassandra follows the Warlock's path until she spots his footprints, and as I said, she nails into his footprints. Why is that so cool? Who made up these freaking rules? Unbaptized fat of a kid makes you fly, nails will hurt you. Like, what? Is there a book on this?
Book of the Dead.
Oh, Michael, the Necronomicon. Works on more than just footprints, evidently. Now, as the train the Warlock had been hiding in begins to leave the station, Cassandra chases it as best as her old knees can manage, and through sheer determination, just manages to reach her bracelet. Oh, shit. Oh, shit, not bad. Now, back at the farm, Redford has Grandpa well cared for and on the road to recovery when Cassandra returns and reveals her curse to be broken, and the search continues, even though it took some convincing on Redford's behalf.
Next time, there won't be any spells, no hexes, no potions. Next time, he's gonna kill me.
I'll not let him harm you.
Realizing he's become too powerful for them to take on, they instead try to beat him to the location of the third piece of the grimoire. The two take a plane to Boston, and man, it is difficult to watch these scenes because of how lax the airport security is. I know, 1988. I'm just saying, none of this shit would fly today.
Can I take that for you?
Over my rotting corpse.
Whatever, Redford is convinced the Warlock is somewhere on the plane.
What now?
There's a witch among us.
And he's right. Does he get tired of flying or something? I don't really get it, but I don't have a problem with it. I'm just... Is it a joke? On arriving in Boston, they make their way to the church, where the priest lets them inside, and when Redford reveals, passionately at that,
It lies in finding that damned book, and thwarting a vile beast of a man who shall not rest until God himself is thrown down, and all of creation becomes Satan's black hell besmeared farting hole.
he becomes as helpful as he possibly can be, giving them access to everything he knows. They discover the final resting place of the third part of the grimoire is buried in a grave, and as they head to the cemetery to search for it, the Warlock has made his way to the priest's house. And through threats to his unborn daughters, he gets the information that he needs.
Both shall be born well-favored, providing he tells me what I need know.
Now, Redford and Cassandra make a pretty crazy discovery here as well when they find out the papers are in the coffin of none other than Redford himself, and that also, the cemetery is in the process of being moved from like this half of the property to this half of the property, all because of some real estate development. They're making a condo or something. That's pretty fucked up. And it's also not good because that means the ground that the grave is currently on is consecrated, while the other side is not. Now, like clockwork, the Warlock shows up no sooner than she's pulled the pages from Redford's decrepit fingers, and as she tries to make her way to the safety of the holy ground, he has her captured. Boy, is he repaying her for the pain and suffering she put him through. Here a deal is made as Redford is manipulated into seeing Cassandra as he once saw his real true love, Marion. Now, we never found out much about her, and that's okay, but it was good to know there was at least a reason for Redford to be after him this whole time. Anyway, the pages are set upon the ground for the taking, which the Warlock could easily do with his power, but Redford goads him into a man-to-man fight, accusing him of being afraid of him. And that's just what we get. Until he tires of playing fair.
As if the rules have changed.
Now, as Cassandra makes a last-ditch effort to stop him from setting his hands on the final piece to the grimoire, she fails miserably, and he just tosses her into the water like a rag doll instead of killing her. And here she pulls out her insulin needles. I don't know if it was important or not that I told you, but she's a diabetic. I probably stuck a scene in there somewhere at the beginning, but they didn't make too big of a deal out of it, so how the hell were you supposed to know all the way to the end this was going to be part of it? Anyway, she pulls out her insulin needles, then we cut back to the Warlock, who's began reciting the magic words. The grimoire is assembled once more, and the true name of God is revealed to him, which if spoken, could undo all of creation. Like most bad guys, though, he talks too much, and as he finishes off his taunts to God, Cassandra leaps onto his back, holds his mouth shut with one hand, and jabs both of her insulin needles right into his neck and pumps him full of seawater. I'm not sure if I'm missing something here with the whole salt thing. Witches and warlocks love salt, apparently, but I guess like any human, if you just like shoot that shit right into their bloodstream, they're probably gonna die in a vicious manner. I don't know, in his case, it sets him on fire, and he's quickly turned into a pile of charred tendon, flesh, and smoky ligaments. Redford crushes what remains of his moving eyes and face underfoot, and the two lean in for their kiss. But before they get it, the wind returns and just tornadoes Redford's ass right back into the grave. His tombstone even changes to read something pretty special. Now the movie ends with Cassandra simply burying the book in the safest place she can think of, and off she drives into her unknown future. And that was Warlock. I gotta admit, this was a really good movie. You know, it's like when you watch something you've never seen, you're always kind of not knowing how to feel about it the whole time. You don't want to form your opinion too soon or too late. But with this one, it kept changing constantly. There were moments I truly loved it, there were moments I questioned it, but by the time I got to the end of it, I really realized that this was a great movie. It had a wonderful cast, it had a really powerful story. It was a very strong story for something so simple. The son of Satan or whatever comes back, tries to put together an evil Bible so he can destroy the world and all that shit. You know, it sounds so cliche on paper, but what Julian Sands brought as the Warlock was simply fascinating. He was marvelous to watch act, wonderful to listen to, his hair was sexy. I just loved looking at him. Watching him fly was kind of funny, but you know, it's not like it's his fault. That's stunt operators and all those fucking wires and all that shit. But what I'm really trying to tell you is, this was a great movie to have only seen for the first time at 36 years old. I mean, like, how I missed this thing my entire life, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I have some faint memory of, in 1988, I was 5 years old, okay? So I doubt that I saw it when I was 5 years old and remembered it for that long. But at some point in my childhood, way back in the day, I saw that scene with the damn nails, and it's forever been stuck in my mind. And today, I figured out exactly where it came from.
Like and subscribe for future content.